So with the next raid, it's meant to be Cinderace. Cinderace is supposed to be a fighting Terra type with the Mightiest Mark. It's going to be going from December 30th until January 1st, and then from January 13th through to January 15th. Now, in terms of movesets, Cinderace does have access to a variety of moves to kind of take care of its weaknesses. So I'll quickly go over what I think the most possible set is, and then we'll dive into which kind of Pokemon you should be looking to raise up, because depending on what moveset it has, the type of Pokemon we use could change. Now, in terms of the moveset, it's definitely going to have Pyro Ball. It's its signature move, and it still gets the Fire Stab. You'll then most likely see it having a fighting type move like High Jump Kick, Revenge, Reversal, Counter, could even run Terra Blast. We saw this with Charizard. It had a pretty much stab moves and then a move that went with the new Terra type. So along with this, it's most likely going to have Iron Head to kind of deal with any fairy types that want to be used. And then it is possible it might use Sucker Punch or Assurance to kind of deal with any psychic Pokemon that might come in. You will notice it doesn't really have any coverage for flying type Pokemon, which are super effective against fighting. So that is definitely going to be one of the types we're going to have a look into. Along with this, it's most likely going to have Court Change and Bulk Up. Court Change is a move that is Cinderace only, so it's very likely that they'll want to showcase that. And then Bulk Up is a way for it to kind of increase its attack and increase its defense at the same time. It is possible they may also put another attack on there, so it could also run like Flame Charge to increase its speed, because Charizard did run Double Fire. Now, along with this, because it is already terrestrialized, Libero shouldn't have any type of effect here, so it shouldn't be changing its type to whichever move it uses. If for whatever reason they allow that to happen, it will only happen once. Then obviously we would make counters to kind of go with the fact that we know it can do this. But given what we know about protein now, it isn't affected by terrestrialization, so you can't change your type once you're terrestrialized. And I assume that's going to be the same thing to happen with Libero, so we shouldn't have to worry too much about that when it comes to this raid. Now, when it comes to which Pokemon to use for this raid, assuming that they don't have Iron Head, you can use pretty much a lot of the Pokemon we already use for Charizard. So Flutter Mane would probably be one of the best because it is Fairy and Ghost. It's super effective against the fighting typing. And then on the resistance side of thing, it's not worried about getting hit by any fighting moves. Dark moves aren't going to do much damage. And we also don't really have to worry about the fire moves too much. Pretty much the same with Charizard. The only downfall with this one is that Calm Mind boosts special defense. It doesn't boost defense. So when you are using this set to kind of set up, just remember that you will still be taking pretty much normal damage from the Cinderace because we're not boosting our defenses to kind of go against its physical attack. But yeah, definitely this set would still work. You could also have a whole bunch of people with you using Fake Tears to kind of help knock it out a lot faster. But yeah, as long as it's not running any steel moves, Flutter Mane is probably one of the best to take in with this. Along with Flutter Mane, you can also use the Sylveon strat. Again, same type of situation. Sylveon is going to be raising its special defense, not its defense. So there could be some issues with getting attacked there. But other than that, it's pretty much going to be fine against Dark, Fire, and Fighting. And as long as it has a support to kind of heal it up, along with the Cheers, you shouldn't have any issues doing the Fake Tears, Calm Mind, Hyper Beam this thing dead strat. Now, Azumarill is something we should only bring if they actually do fix the bug before the raid comes out. They have mentioned that they're looking to patch it out, but there's no idea if that's going to happen before the raid does. If it does, Azumarill basically jumps straight to the top, because if it does have Iron Head, Azumarill doesn't really care about that because it just does normal damage. If it has Sucker Punch, don't care about that either. And basically, Cinderace has no way to super effectively hit water, so we shouldn't have to worry too much about that either. So assuming that the bugs are fixed, Azumarill is, again, our best bet for this. You'd most likely go Play Rough. You don't really need Belly Drum, but you definitely could use it. Huge power. A lot of people had experience with Ability Shield working really well with not actually taking away huge power, so that could be helpful. But again, Shell Bell will work very well as well. You get all your healing back. But yeah, those three are very much going to be on the top of the list of Pokemon you should already have prepared. If you don't, I would suggest getting them prepared just in case, because if there is no Iron Head to worry about, they're definitely going to be very good Pokemon for this raid. If the Iron Head does exist, you do have some other options. So Armarouge and Ceruledge, they're both Pokemon with Flash Fire. They're both going to do really well into this raid. Ceruledge doesn't have to worry about the fire or the fighting. If Sucker Punch exists, that's something that it will have to worry about. But other than that, Bitter Blade with some bulk up should be doing a lot of damage and healing yourself back up. So you shouldn't have any issues using Ceruledge for this. I don't predict it being a problem. Also with Armarouge, same kind of thing. Psychic is super effective against fighting, so that's super helpful. But Armarouge also has access to Psychic Terrain, so we can set up the Psychic Terrain. That's going to knock out Sucker Punch. Fighting won't do much damage to us, and we're immune to fire. So basically, Armarouge, once Psychic Terrain is up, should be able to hit Psychics and Expanding Force without any problems. Benefit of Armarouge is that it also gets access to Reflect. So we can put Reflect up, and that would be also super helpful for this, because it's going to reduce Cinderace's damage coming in. So basically that's why I've got this set here, but you could also look to run Calm Mind. That could be very helpful. But yeah, I definitely expect Armarouge to be really good for this raid, assuming that Ironhead exists. Even if Ironhead doesn't exist, you could definitely still use Armarouge for all the reasons I've listed. And then if we do have to worry about dark attacks too much, and when we try to Terrasilize, you could just Terrasilize into fire, then you're not really gonna have much problems with anything that it's trying to throw out at us. Fire doesn't really have to worry too much about dark, things like that. So that's probably going to be the overall best bet. And again, we're still doing a super effective damage with Psychic. And overall, I don't see Cerulean or Armarouge having too much problems with this fight. And the last Pokemon I'm going to suggest is actually going to be Dragonite. Dragonite's going to be really good to pretty much counter all of the attacks that are coming through. It takes half damage from fire. It takes half damage from fighting. It only takes normal damage from Dark and Steel, so if it is running those, we don't have to worry about it. And we also are aware that Cinderace doesn't have access to any rock moves, so we don't have to worry about that. And it shouldn't have access to any fairy moves either, so it's going to have no super effective way of actually hitting our Dragonite. And Dragonite's really good in the fact that we can kind of play with it as a special attacker or a physical attacker. So yeah, if it does want to use bulk up and things, we can go the special attacking route. We use Hurricane, we can even use like Dragon moves if we want. But we can also set up the Rain Dance. Rain Dance will be very good to weaken the fire attacks when they do come out. It also will allow us to constantly hit Hurricane. Hurricane may confuse. So Dragonites definitely have a lot of use here. You could always do like Hyper Beams as well if you want to try and do damage that way. We've also got access to Inner Focus, so we can't really be flinched or anything if that's something that he tries to do. But also we have access to Multiscale, so if it attacks us when we're at full health, we won't take as much damage. And if we have a support team that's healing up, then Dragonite can be very effective in this fight. To be honest, I would probably suggest Dragonite as the #1 thing to kind of bring in first. But also, like I said, if Azumarill isn't bugged, that's a good bet. And then I would definitely have maybe like a Cerulean or an Armarouge ready just in case. But Dragonite, from everything I can see here and from what I know about Cinderace's moves, shouldn't have any problems with this fight. And if we have a whole bunch of Dragonite sitting there spamming Hurricane, then you can definitely see this thing dropping pretty quickly. So that's my summary for this event. If you're looking for help to try to get these Pokemon ready, you can jump into our Discord. A lot of people in there have been helping people breed Pokemon up. There's been giveaways for certain Pokemon. So definitely jump into the Discord and have a chat with us. We're happy to help. I will also be streaming these raids when they are live. So if you are having issues, definitely come with me. I will help you get through it the best we can. I don't really mind too much about carrying. So yeah, definitely hop in the raid and we'll try to help you out as much as we can. Same with the Discord. Like always, if you are enjoying my content, then please let me know by leaving a like down below. Also, let me know in the comments any other Pokemon you might have thought about for this raid. Obviously, these 6 are the ones I have at the top of my mind, but there could be a whole bunch of other ways to do it. And let's get the conversation going. I really enjoyed the conversations we had for Charizard, and I hope we can have the same for Cinderace. And while you're down there, you can also hit the subscribe button so you are notified when new videos come out. But like always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers!